There is a pile of sand in my yard this morning that stands taller than a man, and there are 15 tons of it, and by tonight every last shovelful is going to be gone, spread out thin as breath across the whole of this lawn. And I'm going to be too tired to lift a fork. I want to be honest with you right at the top because there is a certain kind of video that makes this look easy, makes it look like a man in clean boots drifts a little sand about and stands back to admire a putting green. This is not that. This is the hardest, honest work I do all year, and I do it gladly, and I'm going to show you every part of it, the aching back and all, because the sweat is not a thing to hide from you. The sweat is the price, and the flat green lawn on the far side of it is the thing the price buys. I stood and looked at that pile this morning the way any sensible man looks at a real day's work standing in front of him, which is to say with a certain respect and a certain dread. 15 tons. It does not move because you wish it. It moves one fork at a time, or it does not move at all. So you pick up the fork and you begin. And you do not look at the whole pile again until it is half gone, because looking at the whole of a hard thing is how a man talks himself out of starting it. That is a thing my grandmother taught me, near enough, though she never leveled a lawn in her life. I am Romani, you understand, Roma, and my people were travelers before me, back and back as far as the road goes. We had no lawns. We had the whole earth under us, and we moved across it with the seasons. But my phuri Dodge, my grandmother, she knew ground the way a sailor knows water, because when the ground is your floor and your bed and your workshop and your kitchen, you come to know it in your bones. You learn where the water runs and where it sits. You learn which patch drains sweet and which turns to a bog under a wagon wheel after one night's rain. You learn that the earth is never truly flat, and that a low spot is a trap that fills and holds and rots whatever sits in it. And all of that, every bit of it, is exactly what we are fixing here today. We are not making a lawn pretty. That comes free with it. We are fixing the ground so the water goes where it should, and the low traps get filled, and the whole surface sits even and sound. Pretty is the reward, sound is the reason. Let me tell you first what this is and what it is not, because the name confuses people. They call it top dressing. All it means is laying a thin skin of material across the top of your living lawn, working it down between the blades of grass, and letting the grass grow up through it. Thin. That word is the whole of it, and I will come back to it until you are sick of me. Thin. A dusting. A skin. Not a burial. Now, why do it at all? 3 reasons, and they are good ones. The first is the one you can see. It makes the ground level. Every lawn, given a few years, goes lumpy. The ground heaves in the frost and settles in the thaw. Moles work under it. A trench dug for a pipe or a sprinkler line settles lower than the ground around it, always, no matter how well you packed it back, because dug earth never sits back down quite as tight as earth that was never disturbed. Worms and rain and time all work at it. And so you end up with a surface full of little hills and hollows, and every hollow is a place your mower scalps the grass off the high edge, and every hill is a place the water runs off before it can soak in. Top dressing fills the hollows a little at a time, year on year, and pulls the whole thing flat. The second reason is the soil itself. Good top dressing, and I will come to what good means, feeds the ground it lands on. It works down among the roots. It improves how the soil holds its water and its air, and over the years it builds a better bed for the grass to live in than the one you started with. A lawn is not the grass, you understand. A lawn is the soil, and the grass is only what the soil is wearing. And the third reason is the one nobody tells you, and it is the sweetest of them. This gets better every single time you do it. This is the 4th year I've worked this ground, and I could walk you to the spots and show you. This year is smoother than last, and last was smoother than the year before it. You are not fixing a lawn once and for all. You are beginning a habit, a small yearly thing, and the ground rewards the habit by growing truer with every pass. The first year is the hard one, and it is the ugly one. Have a little faith through the first year. So, timing. This matters more than folks think, and getting it wrong is how you kill your grass instead of helping it, so hear it plain. You top dress when your grass is growing hardest, strongest, most vigorously, because you are about to bury a part of it, and it needs all its strength to push back up through the sand. For your cool season grasses, your bluegrass and your fescues and your rye, that strong growing time is the fall, or else the spring. For a warm season grass like Bermuda, it is the height of the summer when the heat has it racing. What you must never do is top dress a grass that is struggling, or sleeping, or stressed by heat or drought or hard cold. A strong grass grows up through a thin skin of sand in a matter of days and is the better for it. A weak grass smothers under the very same skin and dies. Same sand, same day's work, opposite result, and the only difference between them is whether the grass was strong enough to answer it. Read your grass first, then work. Now, the material. And this is where I'm going to part company a little with the way you often see it done, and I will tell you why, honestly. The fellow who does it with pure sand, straight sand and nothing else, he is not wrong exactly. Pure sand levels beautifully and works down into the canopy easy, and if your aim is dead flat above all other things, sand alone will get you there. The sand you want is a decent builder's sand, not too fine, up to about 2 millimeters in the grain, the sort that runs off the shovel loose and does not pack down into a brick. But I will tell you the honest catch, the thing the pure sand videos do not like to dwell on. If you lay sand, only sand, on top of your soil, year after year after year, you can build up a layer of pure sand sitting on top of your dirt, and those two layers, the sand above and the soil below, do not always love one another. Water and roots can hang up at the line between them. They call it layering, and over enough years it can quietly work against you. So here's what I do, and what I would tell my own familia, my own people, to do. Unless you have a special reason for pure sand, and some folks do, you mix it. Sand for the leveling and the flatness, and good screened compost mixed through it to feed the soil and to keep those two layers married together instead of stacked up like strangers. Sand alone makes a flat lawn. Sand and compost together make a flat lawn and better ground beneath it. And better ground is the whole game in the long run. If you cannot get compost, a good screened topsoil mix will serve. The rule is this: think of the soil you are building, not only the surface you are smoothing. Pretty is the reward, sound is the reason. I did warn you I would keep saying it. Right. Now the work itself, and there is no gentle way to say this, so I will say it the way it is. You shovel it, and you throw it, and you spread it. And it is a very great deal of shoveling and throwing and spreading, and about halfway through the pile your arms will tell you they have had quite enough, and your arms will be lying to you, and you will keep going. I loaded it into a little cart and hauled it out across the lawn and tipped it in heaps. And then I walked those heaps down with the back of the shovel, flinging it out in low arcs so it landed thin and even and not in clots. Thin. Always thin. You are aiming to just barely haze the green of the grass, to see the blades still standing up through the sand, not to bury them under it. If you throw down a heap and the grass vanishes clean out of sight beneath it, you have thrown too much in that spot, and you spread it out before you move on, every time, or you will surely regret that spot in a week. There is a rhythm to it that your body learns after the first hour, and it is worth learning early because it saves your back. Scoop low, swing, fling wide, and let the sand fan out off the shovel in a spray rather than dropping off in a lump. A lump has to be spread a second time by hand. A good wide fan spreads itself as it lands. One warning here that I'm going to set apart on its own. because it is the one that actually kills lawns, and I want it standing where you cannot possibly miss it. Do not smother your grass. I mean it plainly. If you lay the sand too thick and cover the grass clean over so that it cannot see daylight, that grass will not survive it. It will yellow and it will rot down there in the dark, and you will have paid a hard day's sweat to kill your own lawn with your own 2 hands. When in doubt, thinner. You can always come back next year and lay another thin skim. That is the whole idea of the thing. That is the habit. But you cannot ever bring back grass you have smothered dead. Thin skins over many years beats one thick burial every single time, without fail. I got the moisture wrong for a spell, and I will show you my own mistake rather than hide it from you, because you learn a great deal more from my mistakes than ever you will from my successes. The sand had sat in the pile, and the middle of it had stayed damp, and damp sand clumps and drags and simply will not run down into the canopy the way dry sand will. So once I had it spread out rough, I knocked the heaps down flatter even though the evening light was going on me, because spreading it thin lets the air get at it. And by the next morning the sun and the wind had dried it, and then, dry, it worked itself down among the grass like it was disappearing into the ground. So if your sand comes to you damp, spread it out first and let it dry before ever you try to work it in fine. Fighting wet sand is fighting hard for nothing at all. Now, the leveling proper, the part that pulls it truly flat. Throwing it about by shovel gets it roughly even. To get it truly level, you drag it. The tool for it is a simple thing, and you can build one in an afternoon or buy one ready-made. Mine is a length of steel 10 foot long and about 20 inches wide, some channel iron and angle iron welded up into a flat, heavy grid, and it weighs a good 60-odd pounds, and that weight is the whole point of it. You drag it behind whatever you have to hand, a quad, a small tractor, a garden machine, back and forth and around across the whole of the lawn, and that long, flat, heavy bar does a beautiful thing. It scrapes the sand off the high spots, and it carries it along into the low spots, and it drops it there. High to low, every single pass. The grass is the high ground, and the hollows are the low ground, so the drag naturally strips the sand thin off the crowns of the grass and packs it down into every dip and trench and mole run. That is exactly why a 10-foot bar works where a short one never will. It bridges clean across 2 high spots at once and shaves the sand right off the both of them into the hollow lying between. I will be honest about the machine as well because there is a lesson in it. I tried to pull the drag first with a little 90cc quad, a small light thing, and it simply was not strong enough for a 65-pound drag loaded down with sand. It bogged and it struggled, and all I was doing was tiring out the machine and myself along with it. So I stopped, and I went and fetched the bigger machine. And the bigger machine pulled that drag as though it weighed nothing at all. There is no shame whatever in stopping to fetch the right tool for a job. There is only foolishness in flogging the wrong one up and down all afternoon out of pure stubbornness. Match the machine to the load and save yourself the grief. And one small caution out of my own sorry head. Dragging round and round, back and forth, hour upon hour, twisting to watch the sand behind you will make you dizzy, and it will make you sick if you are the sort that's prone to it. I gave myself a proper headache off it, half motion sick, from the constant turning and craning round to watch the drag. So do not stare backward at it the whole time, and take a rest when your head starts to swim. It is honest work, but it does you no good at all flat on your back and green in the face in the flower bed. You drag it, and slowly, slowly, the sand vanishes down into the green, and the lawn stops looking like a lawn and starts to look like a beach, all pale and sandy across the top of it. And I know that looks alarming the very first time you see it, but that is exactly right. That is precisely what success looks like at this stage of the thing. The blades are still up in the light. The sand is down at the roots. Good. Then for the last of it, the drag cannot reach every place. the edges and the corners and the few stubborn low spots where the sand sits too thick and will not shift. For those, you go back to the hand tools. A landscape rake to pull it about, and a stiff push broom to work the last of it down between the blades. That broom is a wonder for this work, sweeping the sand up off the leaves and down into the canopy where you want it, off the green and into the ground. And you do not simply leave the thick spots be, tempting as it is when your back aches, because a thick spot is a smothered spot waiting to happen. And you did not sweat all the day long only to kill the grass off in patches. So you broom the heavy spots thin, every last one of them. I have a plan I have not built yet, and I will give it to you free, in case you turn out handier than I have been about getting round to it. I want to bolt a row of those stiff broom heads all along the underside of my drag, so that when I flip the whole thing over and pull it, the brooms sweep the sand down into the canopy as I go, and do by machine what I am now doing bent double by hand. One day I will build that thing. This year, again, it is the push broom in my own 2 arms. And then you water it gently, and the water settles the sand the rest of the way down, and you keep it watered while the grass answers and pushes up new and green through the thin skin of sand. And within a week or 2, the sand is gone from sight entirely, worked away down into the soil, and what is left standing there is grass, greener and thicker and flatter than it was, and growing out of better ground than it had before. Let me put the honest reckoning on it, because these videos always seem to skip past the cost in a hurry to get to the reward. It took me 3 hours just to shovel that first 15 tons, from 5:15 in the evening until gone 8 o'clock, and then a second load of 15 tons after that, and then 2 more days of dragging and brooming and watering to work the whole of it down. It is a full weekend of your body's honest labor at the very least. I will not tell you it is easy. I told you at the start it is the hardest thing I do all year, and I meant every word of it. But hear the other side of the ledger, the side that is the reason I do it gladly and will do it again come the fall. It is nearly free. Sand is cheap. Compost is cheap. The sweat is your own and costs you nothing but a sore back that mends itself by Tuesday. There is no company to telephone, no bill, no special machine you are made to buy. Nothing but material and muscle and the one long day. A dead flat, true, well-drained lawn is a thing people pay lawn firms a small fortune to chase and never quite catch. And you can have it for the price of sand and your own labor and the patience to do a little each year rather than everything at once. And that last part is the whole of what I want to leave with you. Do not try to fix a lumpy lawn dead flat in one great violent go, because to do that you would have to lay the sand so thick that you would smother and kill the grass outright. And then you have bare dirt and heartbreak and nothing else. That is the trap, and it catches the impatient every time. The only way, is thin skins laid down year after year after year. A little each season, no more than the grass itself can grow up through, and each year the ground sits a little truer than it did the last, until one fall you drag it and step back and realize the thing is flat, properly flat. Flat as a still pond on a windless morning. And it got that way while you were hardly watching. One thin, honest layer at a time. That is a lesson my Roma people knew well about most things in this life that are worth the having. You do not get the good ground in one grand day of effort. You get it by coming back to the same patch, season on season on season, and giving it a little more than ever you take from it, and trusting the slow years to do what no single day ever can. So tell me down in the comments whether your own lawn runs lumpy, and where in the wide world you are fighting your own low spots and mole runs and settled trenches. And if you go and do this yourself, you tell me that you laid it thin, that you did not smother it, because I will worry over your poor grass otherwise. I read every one of them. Next time, I'm going to show you how to build that drag from a few lengths of scrap steel and a welder, the 10-foot leveling bar its own self, so that you need not go and buy one at all. Subscribe so it finds you when it comes. Until then, lay it thin, come back every year, and never once smother the very grass you are trying so hard to save.